Well, hello out there, folks. Welcome to the program. Your friendly neighborhood hatchet man, Brother Craig here. This is the really real deal. And hey, welcome. Doing a part two of 60 years old. Okay. We had a really great program last week. Just want to say thank you to all the I mean, there were literally hundreds of birthday wishes and blessings sent my way. I mean, I just thank the Lord to be able to see 60 years. It's a lot has been learned in these 60 years, and I'm praying to learn a lot more going forward. And a real special, I got to give a shout out to my brother Chuck and his lovely bride. They hosted a really wonderful event, and Chuck is like my twin brother. Because Chuck is coming up on 60. Chuck will be 60 next year. And so he and I, we're right there together. And just had a great group of friends. My big brother Don was there, and many of the men that I've been honored and privileged to do Bible study with for years came out, and just a real good time we had. My boys were there. We really had a wonderful time. Just the men, nothing against the ladies. It was a man's thing. Um, it's like almost, back when I was doing AM radio, right when I said that, I would have pointed at the board operator, and he would have played a little snippet of James Brown right then. This is a man's world. But I always told him, don't cut it off right there. Always let him play the next thing James Brown would say, which was, but it would be nothing, not nothing without our women and our girls. Now, as you see, I'm a talk guy, not a singing guy. Okay. But we had a we had a wonderful time. And last week, part one, I talked a little bit about the world I inherited, okay? Uh, April 22nd, 1961, going forward. And, I tried to share some things. There's so much said in this attempt to destroy the whole notion of the larger American community being a community rooted and based in the Christian Judeo ethic. Okay, that this is a Christian nation founded by Christians. Uh, it's just this attempt to make it out to be something that's just race based, that was rooted in hatred, domination, and that so every problem of today is styled as a race problem rather than a human problem. Okay, because human beings have had, I mean, right there in the Garden of Eden, a brother killed a brother. Okay, and so last time I checked, they had to have been of the same race because they had the same parents. Okay, Cain and Abel. And so it could not have been a racial issue. It had to have been a human issue. Okay. And so I did my humble best to put the lie to this notion that all these current problems in 2021 that get highlighted in the news, that somehow each and every one of them has as its root cause racism. Okay. And so we kind of went through that last week, and showing all the wonderful progress. There's so many people that are just have gotten over racial differences, and just because our enemies won't let it go, and it gets to the point where it's jammed in everyone's face. And so there's a lot of resentment being built up. And so I'm trying to do my best to just, get people to calm down, and particularly on our side now, the enemies that want to destroy this nation, it's a very potent weapon, and they're not going to stop. Okay. And so my commentary was not really directed at them. It was more directed at us. And yes, I said them and us, and I'm going to keep saying them and us. Okay. And I mean, even my Easter sermon, I talked about us and them at Easter. Okay. And there is an us, there is a them. That's reality. Okay. And if that's too tough for any particular viewer, then I'm sure there's something else, that's to your liking, rather than, this onion toting guy here that preaches the truth. All right. And, no offense, but we deal in truth here. All right. And that's truth. And so now, so for part two this week, I want to be more positive and just say, okay, we've done an analysis of the world I inherited and the true history, not interpretive history, the true history. Okay. And I look at history in light of biblical truth as well. So going forward, it's how do we make the world a better place? Okay. And so, if you've read the description of the program today, you see it's by being a friend. Okay. And so the subject today is friends. All right. Making the world better by being a friend. All right. And so, what I had yesterday was a group of wonderful friends. Okay. And everyone was a voluntary relationship. And so a lot of our relationships in life are not voluntary. They are inherited relationships. Okay. And so none of us can choose who our parents were, our siblings, our cousins, you can't choose that. Now we would hope that in those relationships, there is friendliness, there is love, there is respect, at a minimum that there is cordiality in the event that, because I mean, in families, people can sometimes rub each other the wrong way. All right. That's normal. And that's to be expected. Anytime you get a large group of people together, sometimes folk can't even agree on what time we're going to have lunch. And that's fine. But at a minimum, you would hope that, okay, it can be cordial, because sometimes the one you're not friendly with now, you can be friendly with later, or sometimes the reverse. A lot of times in childhood, you can be like really, really great friends. You can be like close, and I've had some relationships like that where I've had, I just thought we'd be friends forever. Okay. But you grow up and you grow apart. And again, that's normal. And sometimes people grow apart, and as they age and mature, they come back together. But when that happens, the coming back is voluntary. Okay. Now, when you're a child, that's not voluntary. Your siblings, your cousins, who you went to school with, you had, 30 kids in a classroom. You didn't choose that classroom. Okay. The zip code that you live in determine you're going to go to that school. Your age determine that's the grade you're in. Okay. And so you're all thrust right there together. Now, out of that, you do then start to choose. You choose, okay, you and we're going to be best friends. Okay. I remember I had a best friend growing up in Newport News, and, I had a newspaper route when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, and he was my helper. Okay. And because I went knocking on doors around the Newport News neighborhood to build the route up, and pretty soon, the route got to be over 100. It didn't take long. It started out around 30 customers. It's pretty soon got to be over 100 customers. And so, that was fine Monday through Saturday. But that was a problem on Sunday with the great big thick newspapers, all the advertisements. And so I had to hire a helper. And so I had my friend down on the corner. And so now, I mean, I haven't seen him since we moved away from Newport News when I was 12 years old. But from, 9, 10, 11 years old, we were best friends. Okay. And so now it was partly involuntary in that our parents, both lived on the same street, but it was partly voluntary. I chose him. He chose me. Okay. And so there's a voluntary element to even those involuntary relationships that we have to be friends. I mean, even our big brother Jesus Christ was closer to some of the apostles than to others of the apostles. And this is biblical. Okay. This is biblical. All right. And so we have to choose to be friendly. And it's like the song that we featured last week. And I played a little teeny snippet of the song. I'm not gonna play any of the song this week, but 7 years, and and the guy he's singing, he's like, "Soon I'll be 60 years old. Will I think the world is cold?" And so he's a young man writing a song. Is actually a brilliant piece of songwriting, and he's wondering about his future because his father only lived to be 61. So he's wondering about his life when he hits the big 60. How much longer will he have? Will he have a big family to come, and will they be close? Will they be loving? And he remembered the words of his mother who told him, make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Okay. Make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. All right. And so I've been blessed to have a lot of friends. And so, our event yesterday that Chuck and his wife hosted, it was featured a bunch of friends, and we had a wonderful time. And I have many, many, many more friends than that, but we had a core group that got together that were able to do so. And I pray that will be something that you who are out there watching and or listening, that in your life you would have some friends. And I'm going to share a few Bible verses here about friendship. Okay. And we're going to start with Proverbs and and particularly for you young men out there, I really, really recommend, for those who do not have Bible reading as a habit, the book of Proverbs is a very, very excellent place to begin and to develop the habit of reading the Word of God. It's an excellent place to begin. Okay. And so, and I have just a few that I've chosen here out of the book of Proverbs. 12:26. The righteous should choose his friends carefully, for the way of the wicked leads them astray. Okay, just some stuff. This is just all going to be dealing with friendship. Okay. Proverbs 13:20. He who walks with the wise will one day himself become wise. Okay. And, I don't know if a lot of the wisdom of my friends has rubbed off on this humble little old country boy, but most of my life, my friends tended to be older than me. Okay. And so quite naturally, by being older, they had more wisdom than I had. Okay. And so some of that has rubbed off on me. Okay. And so that's a good thing. So walk with the wise. All right. Proverbs again, 15:22. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but safety dwelleth in a multitude of advisors. Okay. And that's another word for friends. Okay. You want to have friends, from whom you can bounce off ideas and they can give you advice. Okay. And, Proverbs 17:17, a friend loves at all times. A friend loves at all times. Okay. And actually, I'm going to read the whole 17. I put 17:17a because I didn't want to say the whole thing. Okay. But I'm the Hatchet man, so I'm supposed to be able to say these things, right? So that whole verse is, a friend loves at all times, but a brother is born for adversity. Okay. And I think I left that part out because I have a brother and we don't have adversity. Okay. So I didn't want my brother to think that, you know, that, I'm thinking that there's some adversity between us, and but I do know some brothers, and again, I alluded earlier, and right there in the Garden of Eden, Cain and Abel, brothers, adversity. Okay, and we now this will be a totally separate Bible study, but I mean, we could really go through a pretty good, example of biblical brothers and adversity. Okay, and so I won't do that now in the interest of time. Proverbs 18:24. A man who has friends must himself be friendly, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Okay? And you want to have that kind of friend. Okay? You want to have that kind of friend, one that will stick closer than a brother. All right? Proverbs, again, we're going through Proverbs here. Now we're up to 22, chapter 22, and verses 24 and 25. Make no friendship with an angry man. With a furious man thou shalt not go, lest thou learn his ways, and listen to this part, and get a snare to thy soul. To thy soul, okay? Didn't say, get in a little hot water, get into some trouble, okay? Make a bad decision. Get a snare to thy soul. That's a little bit deeper than, you running with the wrong crowd and you're going to make a bad decision. Okay. And we all make bad decisions with the bad crowd or not with the bad crowd. Sometimes we can make a bad decision on our own, but lest thou get a snare to thy soul. So in other words, these bad choices we make can lead to something that's really, really deep and troubling, and would really, require the grace of God to extricate oneself from. Not that that snare to the soul is impossible to overcome, but these are things that can be deep. A snare to the soul, that's pretty deep. Okay, Proverbs 27:17, always been one of my favorites. Iron sharpens iron. Okay. So a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. Okay. You got to have a friend to sharpen, but then see, your friend sharpens you too. So my friends keep me sharp. I keep my friends sharp. Okay. And see, friends have the leeway to say things to one another, and he's not going to be taking offense. Okay. And that's a responsibility. And if you've got someone with whom you're friendly, and you can't sharpen your brother, and your brother can't sharpen you, hey, you have to ask the question, is this really my friend? Or you have to ask the question of yourself. I like it better this way. Am I really being a friend to my brother? Okay. And we can sure enough expand this out to family, to just all kinds of relationships. Okay. If, some joker running for office who wants to be a leader. Okay. Some guy that's applying to be the new pastor at your church, whether it's the head pastor, the assistant pastor, or whatever. Okay. Joker can't sharpen anybody. Is he really a friend? Okay. If, you got to bring it. Iron sharpening iron, you're not taking a piece of cotton and trying to make the sword shine. You're trying to make the sword sharp. Okay. So don't bring no cotton. Bring another piece of iron. Okay. Another piece of steel. You got to come hard or don't come at all. All right. And so friends have that understanding. All right. And so, and those that do not have that understanding, it might be that maybe they have not developed that understanding yet. Maybe not yet. Okay. And maybe God put you in that person's life as their friend, particularly if you're like the older and more mature one. It might be your responsibility to do that and to stick with that person and to teach them that. Okay. Because after all, you make the world a better place, one person at a time. Starts with self, and then those immediately around you, and it goes out from there. And if we're all doing that, that makes the world a better place. Okay. And so Yeah, I love that one. Proverbs 27:17. All right. Now, Ecclesiastes. Um, okay. Let me, I didn't write this one, but I have it up on the computer here. Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Okay. So this is why I didn't write this. This one is, I was looking at it for verses 9 and 10, but it's like I share with you all to read the whole chapter, not just the verses. Okay. So I was reading the whole chapter and I was like, wow, this requires a bit more. Okay. And so a lot of the attempts to overturn the notion and the idea that the land that we all share together is somehow this place of a lifetime of evil and wickedness, and the only way to correct it is to just overthrow everything. And of course, the number one thing they want to overthrow is the whole idea that there is a God. Okay, the whole idea that Jesus Christ is his son and that there is a Holy Spirit. They just want to just throw that whole idea away and everything about it, even male and female created he them. They want to throw the whole idea away that God created man and woman, and man and woman have their unique characteristics, and we could go on and on and on. Okay. And there are oppressions and there are failings and failures. Okay. That's just a part of being human. All right. But to say that this whole thing requires them to just tear it up and start over under their atheism, and that they're going to replace God with themselves. Okay. This just runs counter to the whole idea of there being a God, and we being his people. All right. And so we would be the subject. It would just go right back to the early church, where the persecution of Christians was, you could just murder Christians. You could use them for lamps. I mean, it's and the same thing with the Jews. Okay. This is just horrific. Okay. And let us not think that these things cannot come back, because history does have a way of repeating itself. And so we have to be on guard. So chapter 4, a book of Ecclesiastes. Okay. Well, first, let me go down and give you the two verses here that deal with friendship. Okay. Because we're still, my main subject is friendship. Okay. So 9 and 10. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. All right. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to, or actually, it should say, one will lift up his friend. But woe to him that is alone when he falls, for he has no friend to help him up. Okay. So again, you got to make friends and you got to be a friend. All right. Now, the way this chapter starts off: so I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Okay. Now, I'm going to save that. I just want to put that out there, that we're going to do an entire program on that. And I made a note to go into that, because this is what we're witnessing. Okay. And so, and this is, the whole idea of why at the 60th anniversary of my birth, and just thinking about the world I live in, from what I inherited to today. Okay. These oppressors that are oppressing, and mainly they're oppressing people that believe in things like, you believe in God, you believe in male and female, you believe in marriage, You believe in the free enterprise capitalist system. You believe in math. 1+1 = 2. It doesn't equal what you want it to equal. I mean, we believe in things that are real. We believe in science, the basic basis of science. You know, when a sperm and egg get together and its cells started dividing, that's called life by definition. That is LIFE. That is life. Okay. And these people, they'll look for some bacteria on Mars. If they find some bacteria, they'll say, oh, something microscopic. Oh, we discovered life on Mars. Okay. But you can see a baby in a womb, and that's not life to these people. Okay. And so I could go on, and I don't want to get too far off of my subject of friends. Okay. But there are oppressors, and there are those being oppressed. Okay. And a lot of the people that are being oppressed, the oppression is so ubiquitous. It's almost like, does a fish know it's wet? So does the person being oppressed know they're being oppressed? It is that ubiquitous. Okay. And sometimes people really don't know, because particularly for those that are younger than me, as a 60-year-old, I have a reference point of a youth where we didn't have that. But imagine, someone 20, what's been going on for the last 20 years that people our age find disturbing. Well, a person 20, that's all they know. That's all they know. So would they even be aware of the oppression that they're under? Okay. And so that's a deep subject. That's a deep subject. Okay. So anyway, let me get back on my subject here. So we've gone through Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. All right. And so now just the best friend we could have, okay, is to claim Jesus as a friend. That's the best friend you could have. Okay. And even our everyday friends that we claim as friends, whether it's in our family or on our job or in, all the various places that I talked about where we're located, where we have involuntary relationships, and then we choose from among those, and some that become more special and become friends. Even among those who have yielded themselves to Jesus Christ, they make very, very good friends. Okay. A Christian is one who is attempting in his or her humanity to be Christ-like. Okay. They make great friends. Okay. And if you want to be a good friend, this could make you a better friend. This makes me a better friend. Okay. And so now I'm just going to deal in 2 chapters here and they're both from the book of John. All right. So we're going to have chapter 10 and chapter 15. Okay. And so now, and I encourage you again, read both chapters in their entirety. All right. And I've done chapter 10 of the book of John before. If you're viewing this on Facebook Live, that's great. I ask you to click the thumbs up and then share it. Okay. Share it with your friends, share it with any groups you belong to. All right. And, we have a YouTube channel, and the same, I would ask you to click thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. And in the YouTube channel, there is an archive, and in that archive, you will find sermons of me discussing John chapter 10 and John chapter 15. All right. And so it's going to be very abbreviated today. And also I'm working on keeping my time down. Okay. I know everyone doesn't have time to listen to a 1 hour or hour and a half Sunday message. And so we're trying real hard to keep them at 40 minutes, 45 minutes in that time range. Okay. So now this friendship we can find in Jesus. Now, John 10, just some broad observations when you just look at that chapter. Jesus uses the door. Okay. So Jesus doesn't force himself. He doesn't come in through the back door. He doesn't come in through a window. He doesn't get on a ladder and climb up. And it actually says all this. Okay. He's saying this is how a thief comes. A thief comes not but to steal, to kill, and destroy. And Jesus comes that people might have life and have life more abundantly. All right. And so he uses the door. All right. And so now this could be an opportunity for me to go off on a political thing about the southern border. I'm going to resist that, and we're going to stick on this. Okay. But it is interesting that, all these, because as far as our immigration system, we do have a door. Okay. We have a way to come legally. All right. And so Jesus comes, and quite often people will misuse Jesus as in order to justify them wanting to break up the fabric of the nation, and they hide behind Jesus. And so if anyone ever tells you that, you can just yourself, you can cite chapter 10 of the book of John, and you can say, oh no, but Jesus used the door. Okay. So he's the good shepherd, and his voice is known. Okay, the sheep recognize Jesus's voice, so he's recognized as a voice that is familiar. Okay, and Jesus is not in it for the money. Okay, because further down in chapter 10, he talks about the hireling. Okay, and the hireling versus the true son. And the true son recognizes that his father is the owner of the sheep. And so he, as the true son of the father, has an inheritance and a value of inheritance in the sheep. And he wants to please the father. And so therefore he will put his own life at risk to defend those sheep. Okay. So he's not risk averse. All right. So when the wolf shows up, he stands between the danger and the flock. He puts himself at risk. He puts himself in danger. The hireling, okay, the guy who's only in it for the money, he was paid a wage to show up and help with the flock. All right. So when there's danger, he takes off. He says, well, they're not my sheep. So, I'm not going to let that wolf bite me. I'm out of here. All right. And so think about this. Okay. I mean, so this is a friend. Okay. And so the, laying his life down. All right. Let me get down to this. All right. A true friend, this is what a true friend will do. He will put himself at risk for his friend. And there's so many ways that we can put ourselves at risk. I mean, even if you just take a day off from work you don't use the excuse, oh, well, I can't go and help my friend. I have to go to work. Okay. Your livelihood is at risk. Okay. They are, what about all of the police officers who literally put their lives at risk? Okay. And you have a lot of them that are retiring or quitting, or those that maybe would want to be a police officer, but in the current environment, they say, well, no, I'm not going to put my life at risk. I show up to help a couple solve a dispute, and, he's beating on his wife, and I pull him off of her. Next thing you know, the wife shoots me. I mean, it's just, and then our military also. And so again, these are people that they are the very definition of friend. They will lay their life down for their fellow citizen. Okay. The soldier lays his life down for his brother soldier or his sister soldier. Okay. These are real situations of taking friendship to another level. Okay. And a lot of people just simply being inconvenienced, they prove to you, okay, they're not a friend. And but this is particularly true when people come and ask you to support them, to install them in leadership. We're blessed to live in a country where we get to choose our leaders. Okay. Or we usually we usually get to choose our leaders. Okay. We have a president that was installed, not chosen. That's just a fact. Anybody want to click off? Fine, click off. All right. But again, we deal in truth here in this program, and there's no serious person would think that the current commander in chief actually won. All right. But for the most part, and historically, we have been able to choose our leaders. Okay. Now we're not certain how deep this vote theft thing goes, nor how long it's been going on. We don't know how many previous elections have been stolen. But for the most part, we're blessed to live in that type of environment. So when people come before you, basically what they're saying is, I'm your friend. I'm the friend of liberty. I'm the friend to your household finances. I'm going to protect you from having the government take more from you than is legitimate to run the government. Okay, I'm your friend. I'm going to protect you from people abusing your children. Okay, in a classroom, teaching your child to hate you, teaching your child to hate their country, teaching your child to hate their race, teaching your child to hate even their gender, to want to butcher themselves. Okay. I'm your friend. I'm going to protect you. Okay. And so a little heat gets applied to some of these people, and all of a sudden they are like the hireling in the book of John, chapter 10. All of a sudden, oh no, I can't go to bat for that, because the teachers union, they're very powerful, and they'll donate $100,000 to my opponent and I'll get elected out of office. Okay. And so you have these types of things. And so John chapter 10, the applicability of it is more than what it was seen just at first glance. If you really think about it, okay, if you really think about it, there are many, many, many things in life that people do, and they say with their lips, I'm doing this because I'm your friend. Okay, whether that's an individual friend or corporately, they want to be your new preacher, they want to be your new congressman, whatever. Okay. But then they're really doing it just for their own personal benefit. They're not doing it to serve the Lord. They're not doing it to serve their fellow citizens, the public. Okay. There are even generals and admirals who are not doing it to safeguard the nation. Okay. They're doing it so that when they retire, they can get a consultancy contract with a defense contractor, and they can get rich. Okay. These things happen, and we have to think about these things. And this is taking the Bible and applying the Bible to life. That's what it is. And I know a lot of people don't like it, and that's fine. You have free will just like I have free will. Okay. A lot of people want the Bible to just be, something to make them feel good, to calm their nerves. And a lot of preachers want the church to be a safe space for some Christian snowflakes, and they can't bring this kind of heat because a lot of people don't like it. But, you name me one prophet that all the people liked. You can't, because it doesn't exist. Okay. And certainly our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. All right. Let me go to chapter 15 here. All right. I'm starting at verse 12. Again, book of John, chapter 15. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Okay. Greater love hath no man than this. And this is the verse we're all familiar with, that a man lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends. And then there's this word, there's a comma, and then if, okay? You are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you, all right? It didn't say you are my friends, period. It said you are my friends, comma, then the word if, okay? If is a word that indicates conditionality. And the condition for being the friend of Jesus is to do what Jesus commands us, okay? Not Brother Craig saying that. That's Jesus saying that. Book of John, chapter 15, verse 14, all right? Now I'm going to go forward. Henceforth, I do not call you servants, for the servant does not know what his Lord does, but I have called you friends. For all things, not some things, okay? For all things I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you, okay? And see, when you're a servant, when you're on a job, you don't know what they're talking about up in the big office. You just performing your task. Even in the military, okay? There is a need to know command structure, all right? And you have to have security clearance, all right? And so here, right here, you got security. If you're a friend of Jesus, you got security clearance, okay? Congratulations. So anyway, so next verse. This one is really interesting, okay? And this, so that no one gets full of himself or no one gets full of herself, so I don't get full of myself, okay? Again, words of Jesus. This is not me, so don't get mad at me, all right? Jesus himself, he says this, you have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatever you ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. Okay? That's powerful. All right, these things I command you, that you love one another. Okay? So he's repeating in verse 17 what he said in verse 12. Okay? And all throughout the Bible, when something is repeated, okay, you take heed of what's repeated, all right? If the world hate you, know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Remember, just 3 more verses. Remember the word that I said unto you. The servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. But all these things they will do unto you. That's us. They're going to do these horrible things. They're going to do unto us for the name's sake of Jesus, because they do not know him that sent Jesus. Okay. Basically, these are people, they don't know God. And so they're going to persecute us. Okay. Just like they persecuted Jesus, and they persecuted Jesus because they did not know the Father that sent Jesus. Okay. Now, Jesus saying, if I had not come and spoken to them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak for their sin. So the awareness of all have sinned, but the awareness of that sin, there's no cloak, okay? Because Jesus has lived, went to the cross, was crucified unjustly, took on our sins, died, rose, and has made a way for we who believe. Okay. And just like 2,000 years ago, you had those that would not hear. In 2021, you have those that will not hear. Okay. But among those that have heard, you have friends. Okay. And I'm your friend. I'm your brother, Brother Craig. Someone asked me recently, he said, someone who recently became aware of, the radio program, The Really Real Deal with Brother Craig, the Hatchet Man. So he wanted to know, okay, what's this about the Hatchet Man? Okay, where'd that come from? So I had to tell him that it's not just the Hatchet Man, it's Brother Craig, the Hatchet Man. It's two parts. Okay. And so one part is that if you love the Lord, if you love America, if you love the Western ethic, in its best light, okay, the aspirational side of it, it was created to glorify God. Okay, this nation was created to be a shining city on a hill, like a modern Israel. All right, and so that doesn't mean that the Western, the Western world with the Christian Judeo ethic has always met what its objective was, because no individual does that. Okay, no human being does that. Only Jesus did that. No other human being can match that. None. Okay, but that does not change the fact that that's the essence of America. Okay, and so if you love that idea, then I'm your brother. I'm your friend. I'm Brother Craig. Now, if you are in opposition to that idea, if you hate that idea, okay, if you are one that wants to say, well, no, this is a horrible place, it's racist from the beginning, we're going to tear it down and we're going to start over. Okay, if that's you, then I'm the Hatchet Man. Okay, plain and simple. All right, so you have to you have two sides. Okay, if you're my friend, I'm your friend. If you're not my friend, I'm not your friend. Period. Okay, exclamation point. All right, and so, and then I shared with this gentleman that the Hatchet Man name came from one of my high school coaches. Okay, from playing sports in Charles City County, played football and basketball, and I guess maybe I was just being a little aggressive one day, and and the coach said, "Oh man, wow, we're gonna call you the Hatchet Man." So I kind of like that. Okay, I kind of like that. So anyway, so that's where that came from. So I think that's enough for today. And again, I just want to say thank you to everyone that gave me a really, really nice birthday, 60th birthday anniversary. Really, really nice. It was great, as is my habit for the last 25 years. When it's my birthday, I take flowers to my mother. I encourage you all to do likewise. And so, my mother is still with us. My grandmother is still with us. Okay, 101. She'll be 102 later this year. Okay, and so it's nice. Okay, she did all the work. I just popped out. Okay, and 3:19 p.m. She said I caused her so much pain for 2 days in a row. And when I was finally out, I was like almost 9 pounds. And when I was finally out, she looked up at the clock. She said, "Whew, Lord, 3:19. I'm glad this is over." So that's why I know what time I was born. Okay. And I know last week I said 4:19, and I took my mother to lunch a couple of days ago. And so she repeated the story, and so she reminded me that it was 3:19, not 4:19. So I said, "Well, okay, Mom, I gotta correct the story because I just told folks it was 4:19." So so it was 3:19. And so just so many blessings, and especially the blessing of friendship. That's just that's a wonderful blessing to have. My best friend right now is my sweet and wonderful wife, Mrs. Hatchet, and she and I both had a best friend that went home to be with the Lord back in December. Our dad, I say our, he was her dad, but he became our dad, and a really true friend, and in keeping with what I said, how you be a friend to be a reflection of Jesus. Dad was a reflection of Jesus. He really was, and a really true friend. And the three of us, we were like the three amigos. Okay, we still miss him, and we talk about him all the time. And but for you out there, you want to change the world, be a friend to someone. You want to change the world, be a truer friend to those with whom you're already in friendship and fellowship. You want to change the world, try to be a friend to someone with whom you have one of those involuntary relationships, whether it's in family, in your church, on your job, in whatever, you're a member of a service organization or a political organization, and you have to work with people. And so because you love the end goal, you're right there side by side. Well, since you're there anyway, try to be a friend. Try to be a friend. Okay, that, I guarantee you, will make the world a better place. God bless you out there, folks. And I'm just going to pray that the Lord would bless you and keep you, that the Lord would make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you, and that the Lord would lift his countenance up upon you and give you peace. And Lord willing, I'm going to see you all right here next week, folks. Same Hatchet time, same Hatchet station. God bless you.